Welcome back to Adrian's Avenue. I'm Adrian, and on this channel we help you make better decisions for a better life, because I truly believe that your daily decisions determine your destiny. And today, are you feeling like you're in that cycle of debt, that you just can't get out of debt? You just keep going over and over in the same cycle? Well, we're going to try to give you some tips to help you break that cycle of debt. Stay tuned. Now, to get you out of that cycle of debt, we're going to have to really face some realities and be honest with ourselves. So strap on your belt, hold on tight, because here we go. The first thing we're going to talk about is living beyond your means. Living and buying things that you really can't afford right now, but that you want them because you want them, or you want other folks to see that you have them. Spending too much money on either clothing, spending too much money on food, buying a car that you potentially can't afford with the other things that come with the car, the insurance on it, the maintenance on it, buying a house that you potentially can't afford with all the other things that come with buying a big house. We covered that in one video. But living beyond your means, spending more money than you have actually coming into the household. This is something we need to get up under control. It's a reality check. It's something I say live within your means. Some people say live below your means. But when I say live within your means, I'm saying within your means as far as including investment money as well as savings accounts in that means that we're talking about. I don't believe in living below your means because I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I want to live the best life I possibly can right now while still saving and investing for the future. So let's get out of the habit of overspending, buying things that we really don't need, going places we really don't need to go, that we can't afford to do it right now. Maybe in the future, but right now your money needs to go somewhere else. That's where your affordability. I can afford to save. I can afford to invest in some things. Maybe I can't afford that big trip overseas. Maybe I can't afford the favorite car that I want or the house that I want to live in, but I will eventually get to that if I do it the right way in the right steps. So live within your means and not beyond your means. Not budgeting is a big killer for staying in debt forever and ever and ever, because you don't know where your money is going. Everybody else knows where it's going. Everybody you're paying knows where it's going, but you don't know what to do with your money. It's taken on a life of its own. And as the bills come in, you're writing the checks and you feel like you're working just to pay bills every month. You don't feel like you're getting ahead. This is a no-no. You have to get on a budget, because that's the only way you're going to get your spending under control and start paying things off. Knowing where your money is going, telling your money where you need for it to go, and then just living off of that budget. And the budget can be adjusted as things happen, as months go by, as utility bills change, as clothing bills change, as gas changes, stuff like that. You can adjust the budget. It's your money. It's your budget. You can do with it what you want to, but at least you'll know where your money is going, and you can get some extra money by cutting back on a few things to pay down some bills. That way you won't feel like you're in prison and in this just cycle of debt. You just can't get out. A budget is critical. I cannot say that enough. The B word. Get on a budget now. Get on a budget today and get out of debt. We're all human, and sometimes we just like to ignore the debt. We feel like if we don't look at it, it's no big deal. Maybe it'll go away. Let me tell you, you need to look at the debt. You need to know for yourself how much debt that you're in. If I were to ask you right now, how much debt are you in? How much do you own your car? How much do you own your house? What about those credit card bills? Do you have any loans out there? How much do you owe for that? You should be able to recite off how much debt that you're actually in, because if you don't know how to get out of it. You need to name these things, put them on the list, and start paying down the debt as from smallest to largest, or from the largest interest rate to the smallest interest rate. I don't care how you do it, but start paying the debt down. Now, you can't pay debt down while getting into more debt, such as if you have a credit card that you want to pay down, you need to put that credit card aside, freeze it in some water, hide it, do something with it where you don't use it. erase your credit card numbers from Amazon and all these other places that it'll automatically come up on, because that's not doing you, that's not helping you get out of the cycle of debt. We want to get out of the cycle of debt of going over and over. So, but the main point with this is you need to know how much debt you're in. Don't ignore it. As the bills come in, you need to look at them, write them down, and know how much money you owe Visa, how much money you owe MasterCard, how much money do you owe on the loans. You need to know all of this so you can start chipping down and getting out of debt. Making the minimum payments on all your credit cards is not a good way to get out of debt. You need to make an impact on at least one of them. Pick out, if you have 3 credit cards that you owe on, pick out the one with the least amount on it and pay more than the minimum balance. On the other 2, you can pay the minimum balance, but focus on one card to get it paid down. What you focus on is what will move. So focus on that one card to pay it down as quickly as possible and put the minimum on the other cards. Once you have that paid off, all the money you were paying on that, go to that next card, make payments on that. This way you're getting out of that cycle of debt. You're not staying in the cycle of debt forever and ever. And then stop charging on those cards. But make a plan to not pay just the minimum amount on everything you have out there, because you will stay in that cycle of debt for a while if you do that. So let's get out of that habit of paying just the minimum. Do me a big favor, while you're getting out of debt, hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information as it becomes available to you. And make a comment. I'd love to know your secret for getting out of that cycle of debt. Okay, let's get back to it. This is a huge one, and this is one that some people will not admit to, but that is keeping up with the Joneses. Now, the Joneses may be your church members, the Joneses may be your neighbors, it may be your friends you hang out with, it may be that group, sororities, fraternities, it could be anything like that. You know that you can't afford to do all of the stuff that's going on with the Joneses, whoever the Joneses are for you. However, you don't want your friends to see that you can't keep up with them or how broke that you really are. So you'll make that sacrifice, put it on the credit card and make those minimum payments so that they will know that you can do just as good as they can. And guess what? They're probably doing the same thing. You guys are probably in the same boat. Get rid of keeping up with the Joneses. Do what you can afford to do, and you'll feel much better when you go to bed at night, when you look at your credit card statement when it comes in. Do what you can do. You know, we're all human and we all have limits. Unless you have a spout of money coming in that you cannot turn off, at some point in time, the answer is going to have to be no to some of these things. You know, unless you're rich, you got a big inheritance. And if that's the way you want to spend your money, go for it. But this keeping up with the Joneses, whether it's the neighbors, whether it's the people at church, whoever it is, I can almost promise you the Joneses are in as much debt, if not more, than you are. They just look good, but they wear a big hat, but they have no cattle. That's what we say in Texas. Just because you have a big hat on doesn't mean that you have money in the bank. I would rather have money in the bank than buy a purse that I can't afford and have no money in that purse. So let's stop so much worrying about social media, society out there, what they expect of me. Start expecting of something of yourself and do right by your family, do right by your future. And let's forget the Joneses. You know, let the Joneses do their thing, but let's change and start doing the thing that we need to do for ourselves, the things that we can afford to do and live that better life. Sometimes we forget about this one, but failing to plan for large expenses. If you know that a refrigerator lasts a certain amount of time, go ahead, start planning for that. You know that the tires on your truck or car, they only last so long. Go ahead and plan for that. You know, every 10,000 miles, 15, that there's going to be some type of repair for your vehicle. Plan for that. You know it's going to be more than, you know, $200 or $300. It may be up into the thousands of dollars for some of these cars. But make a plan for that. Don't let it sneak up on you because you know it's coming. It's not sneaking up on you. You know that it's coming. You're just not planning for it. If we were to plan for it, start saving for it, when that time comes, you will have it to spend on it, and you won't get into debt by putting it on a credit card and then paying it off. So let's be smart with our money, and let's pay attention to what's going on in our finances for our household and plan for those large events, plan for trips that you're going on, plan for all of that. Have that money available and ready, and go enjoy yourself, or buy that refrigerator that you're going to need, the washer and dryer that you're going to need. These appliances don't last forever. Do the right thing and buy your family and buy your money. For some of you, it's the high interest rate loans. And what I mean is those really high interest rate loans, such as the payday loans, the title loans, all of these that you go into one of these places that said that they'll give you money to float you until your paycheck comes. And then when your paycheck comes, they take a certain amount from your paycheck and they may float you again. These are high interest loans that you're paying, and it is eating up your money and keeping you in debt. There's no way to get out of debt paying them the money that you're paying them so that they can loan you money to float you to the next paycheck. This is a bad cycle to get in. You need to get out of that cycle, pay them back whatever you owe them, cut that high interest rates off, because these interest rates are very, very high. You know, some of them 50, 60, 70% that you're paying, if you really break it down, in interest just to float you until you get a paycheck. We need to get out of that. And even the pawn shop stuff, to put stuff in the pawn shop and then go back later on or make payments on it so that they won't sell it. Some of it is just worth just letting them sell and letting it go. But they'll ask you to make payments on it. You know, they'll lend you a certain amount of money. You make payments on it so that they won't sell it. Some people put computers in the pawn shop. Leave them in there for years and years. The computers are like no good after a couple of years anyway, but you're constantly making payments on that computer. So we need to get out of the habits of making these large, huge interest rate loans and trying to pay them back. That will keep you in the cycle of debt pretty much forever. This last one will help tremendously, and that is having financial goals. When you don't have any financial goals, you don't know which way to go. That's like taking a trip and not planning out and not knowing where to go. Any road will lead you there. But if you have financial goals, certain things that you want to do in life or do for your family, certain things that you want to maybe invest in, and maybe one day, like we all do, you want to retire. I tell you, retirement is a good thing. It's a great thing to do. You don't want to work the rest of your life. And if that's a goal for you, start planning now, and you will find yourself getting out of debt, because that becomes more important to you than having this temporary thing that you buy that maybe you don't even want or maybe won't last you that long. You're spending money or spending to buying today and then paying for it tomorrow. You're buying something, getting it now, and then paying for it with tomorrow's dollars that may or may not be there for you. Then paying all this extra interest on it. It's just draining you and not taking you in the right direction. But when you have goals, when you have financial goals, buying a house, getting a car, going on trips, doing the things you like, enjoying life, that's what you will focus on. And you will make the small sacrifices today for the things that you can have for tomorrow. It'll just make life much better for you. You can sleep well at night. You won't have a lot of financial stress or anything like that. So I've given several tips in this video that will help you get out of that cycle of debt. You know, pay down things, save for things, spend cash on things instead of putting everything on a credit card, and freeze these credit cards. Stop spending so much on these credit cards while you're trying to pay them down. Pay them down one at a time. Choose a method that you want to pay them down, but get this debt paid off and get out of that cycle of debt. And with that, I will see you in the next video.